At the commencement of the narrative, we observe how the Queen of Japan, Heimi, was resolute in her intention to obliterate the entire kingdom using her dark and malevolent magic. In order to save the nation, the generals rose up against the queen and successfully imprisoned her, abandoning her on a remote island where there was no one in the vicinity for miles. Many years later, Lord Richard Croft stumbled upon an ancient map that could potentially disclose that Himiko was left on the island of Kok. Richard left his daughter in London and embarked on a journey to discover Himiko himself. It has been 7 years and now a mature Lara was engaged in an MMA fight. During the match, her adversary was dominating Lara. Eventually, she trapped Lara in a chokehold. Lara struggled for an extended period but ultimately had to concede by tapping out. Since her father's vanishing, Lara had been getting by through various small jobs. Then one day, her father's business associate Anna came to visit her. "You do not need to go through all of this solely for financial gain. Your father left a substantial amount for you, but Lara was not interested in her father's wealth. 7 years prior, Richard vanished, so Anna advised Lara, "Please sign the documents so we can officially declare Richard deceased. Otherwise, all his assets will be liquidated and you will receive nothing." That evening, Lara began reflecting on her father. Before departing, Richard had gifted Lara a necklace that once belonged to her mother. Richard mentioned that by holding the necklace in your hand, if you contemplate someone, that individual somehow becomes aware that they are being remembered. The following day, Lara proceeded to the Croft Holdings building to finalize the documents declaring Richard deceased. Prior to signing, the attorney presented Lara with a puzzle known as Karakuri. Lara accepted the puzzle and upon solving it, she discovered a concealed letter and a key. The letter stated, "Bring the initial word of my final location." Lara instantly grasped its significance and went to her father's burial site. At the grave Lara pressed the initial letter R of her father Richard's name, which unveiled a location to insert a key. As soon as Lara inserted and turned the key, a door opened on the opposite side of the grave. Inside was Richard's hidden office, where Lara discovered several counterfeit passports and an antiquated video camera containing a message from Richard. Richard elaborated on how, following his wife's passing, he discovered a method to reunite with her in another realm. He was working on Project Himiko. He wanted Lara to burn all documents about Project Himiko because if they fell into the wrong hands, it could cause chaos. Meanwhile, Lara found a box labeled Himiko. Curious, Lara began to examine and read the contents. She learned about Himiko and the island of Yamatai where it was protected. Lara found out Richard was headed to Yamatai and also found info about the captain who was to take him there on his ship. Because Lara had not signed the death papers yet, that's the reason she was unable to receive her father's inheritance money, so Lara decided to sell her jade necklace, and with the funds she obtained, she made her way to Hong Kong. In this place, while Lara was searching for the ship's captain, a group of boys feigning to assist her snatched her bag. Lara attempted to pursue them by sprinting over the boats, but they boarded a boat that began to move. Lara dashed through the bustling market to reach their boat, and as soon as the boys disembarked from the boat, Lara somehow managed to apprehend one of them. It was her bag today. Now, this boy attempted to intimidate Lara by brandishing a knife, but Lara swung on a hook to the opposite side. Just then, she caught sight of the ship, the Endurance which she had been searching for. However, these boys were still pursuing her, and after a short while, they encircled Lara. But then, Captain Lu Ren fired a shot from the ship and frightened the boys away instantly. Lu also instructed Lara to leave at once, but at that moment, Lu had consumed too much alcohol and tumbled off the ship in a drunken stupor. She splashed water on Lu to wake him up and then showed him her father's letter, asking about Richard. But Lu explained that his father's name was also Lu, and it was possible that her father had communicated with his father. To be honest, his father was missing too because both Lu and Lara's fathers disappeared on the same trip. Lara informed him that they were heading to Yamatai. Lara found some codes in her father's diary that indicated where they might have gone. Lu speculated that these codes, utilizing the needles, Lara meticulously marked on the map the potential location of the island. Lu promptly remarked that the island was situated in an exceedingly perilous area. Venturing there is fraught with danger, and honestly, I am indifferent about my father. However, after some time, when he gazed upon a childhood photograph with his father, he had a change of heart. Lara inferred from various clues there that you were earning money through gambling gambling last night, correct? Lara proposed a substantial sum of money to Lu for his assistance. Lu consented, and subsequently they commenced their expedition towards the enigmatic Yamatai Island. As they progressed on their voyage, Lara meticulously perused her father's diary and stumbled upon an intricate Asian puzzle nestled among Richard's possessions. She uncovered the revelation that Himiko was confined behind a sealed door, and Richard had ingeniously devised a method to unlock it. Arriving at Himiko's precise location on that island was destined to be exceedingly arduous, and they would inevitably encounter numerous formidable challenges along the way. Throughout this mission, an organization was vigilantly monitoring Richard, known as the Order of Trinity, or the organization desires to harness mystical powers in order to dominate humanity. Richard harbored fears that if these individuals managed to seize Himiko's power, there would be no boundaries to their potential actions. Nevertheless, one night when Lara awakened, she observed a perilous storm fiercely raging outside. She ascended onto the bridge, where Lu found himself unable to maintain control over the ship. Lara observed that they were extremely close to arriving at Yamatai Island. Nevertheless, the massive waves persistently pushed the vessel away. Lu advised Lara to leave the ship, but Lara proceeded to her cabin to retrieve Richard's diary, leaving the ancient puzzle behind. At that moment, the ship crashed into a substantial rock, causing Lara to plunge into the water. The tempest separated Lu and Lara. Lara eventually reached a shoreline and noticed that there were additional individuals on the island when suddenly he rendered her unconscious. The next day, when Lara woke up, she found herself in a tent with a man named Matthias Vogel. Matthias told Lara that he has a daughter just like her. He explained that he can't leave the island until his work is complete. When Lara checked her bag, Matthias informed her that he now has Richard's diary and has obtained everything he needed. He also revealed that they had captured her father, and when he didn't comply with their demands, they were forced to kill him. Upon hearing this distressing news, Lara's heart sank deeply as she realized her beloved father was no longer part of this world. When Lara stepped outside the tent, she observed several workers attempting to bring down the mountain using bomb explosions. As Lara was being taken captive, she noticed that Lu had also been captured and was being coerced into labor. Matthews had issued orders for everyone to relocate to a different area. During the journey, Lu confided in Lara that the majority of the workers present were either fishermen whose ships had tragically sunk. Could they be people who got trapped in the smuggler's scheme? Lara revealed that Matthews killed my father, and soon Lu learned from the workers that his father was also killed. Lara apologized to Lu for bringing him to this dangerous place. From Richard's diary, Matthews found the entrance to Himiko's tomb and even all the workers. Lara and Lu also started clearing the path to this entrance. Then an old man fell due to weakness. But a guard said, "Old man, stand up and get to work. Understood?" Lara and Lu stood in solidarity with the elderly man and boldly confronted the guard. However, Matthews suddenly appeared from behind and fatally shot the old man. In a swift move, Lu grabbed a pickaxe and hurled it at the guard, creating an opportunity for Lara to make her escape. As Lara sprinted away, another man aimed to shoot her, but Lu intervened just in time to protect her. Lu seized the moment to flee alongside her, but Matthews managed to shoot him in the arm. Lara reached the hillside and attempted to climb over a toppled tree, but as a result of the gunfire, she tumbled into the river. Lara was endeavoring to extricate herself from the river, and upon reaching the waterfall, she clutched onto the wing of a downed airplane and with some effort climbed onto it. Regrettably, due to her weight, the airplane commenced to disintegrate. Lara swiftly dashed towards the central section of the airplane and successfully leaped into the fuselage just before the wing gave way. However, the entire aircraft began disintegrating and became wedged between two hills. Fortunately, Lara discovered an ancient parachute there, and as she descended, she deployed the parachute. Miraculously, Lara succeeded in surviving and crash-landed within the jungle. During this ordeal, a sharp tree branch impaled her stomach. Crying out in agony, Lara extracted the wood and then chose to spend the night in a nearby cavern. While she was sleeping, Lara heard a noise and decided to venture outside. Suddenly, one of Matthias's men, known as Rocket, seized her. Lara bit down hard on his arm to break free. She exerted all her strength to fend him off, but Rocket managed to lift her once more and forcefully slammed her to the ground, attempting to strangle her. In the midst of this intense struggle, Lara grasped a rock and struck him on the head. She then pressed his face into the mud, preventing him from breathing, and shortly thereafter, Rocket succumbed to his fate. She remained in a state of shock, grappling with the reality that she had ended someone's life when she observed a figure in the shadows and instinctively began to pursue them without hesitation. As she approached, she saw the individual ascending a hill. Upon getting closer, she discerned it was none other than her father, Richard. Richard initially thought it was merely an illusion. How could his daughter possibly be here? However, Lara reassured Richard that she was truly present. Witnessing her, Richard's eyes welled up with tears and he inquired, "What are you doing here?" Lara had sustained an injury, so Richard carefully bandaged her wound and instructed her to rest, assuring her that he would never abandon her again. The following day, all the laborers cleared the path leading to Himiko's tomb, after which Matthias made a phone call. When Lara awoke in the morning, she noticed Richard shaving and she assisted him with it. Richard elaborated that leaving Lara had been extremely challenging for him, but due to Himiko, he was unable to depart from the island. He mentioned that Matthias was employed by the same Trinity. He is employed by the organization and Richard must prevent him from accessing Himiko at any cost. Richard inquired of Lara whether she had destroyed all his research, to which Lara responded that she had not. Upon hearing this, Richard grew noticeably anxious, but Lara emphasized that if she had done so, she would never have been able to find her father. When Richard discovered that Matthews possessed his diary, he became extremely angry, but it was of no consequence to Lara. However, Richard insisted that this is not a trivial matter. If it opens even once, the entire world could potentially be destroyed. Lara concluded that their only means of escape was by utilizing Matthew's phone, as confronting so many soldiers on their own was not practical for them. She retrieved the bow and arrows that were stored there and sprinted towards Matthew's encampment. Somehow, Lara managed to stealthily enter Matthew's tent, but soon after, he also arrived there, compelling Lara to conceal herself. Matthews received an urgent notification on his mobile device indicating that his superior would be arriving shortly, yet he still hadn't obtained the necessary codes to unlock the entrance. Lara emerged from the tent and noticed Lou. She incapacitated the guard who was overseeing the workers and directed all the workers to collect weapons while she attempted to pilfer Matthews's phone. As soon as Matthews exited the tent, Lara sprinted towards the tent to swipe the satellite phone, which she successfully acquired. However, at that moment, she caught sight of Richard was advancing in the direction of. Matthias promptly noticed Richard and commenced inflicting pain upon him. Matthias was eager to conclude this swiftly and reunite with his family, but Richard cautioned that once this was unlocked, his family would not endure. Understanding that Richard would not disclose the truth, Matthias commanded the guard to discharge his weapon at Richard, but prior to the guard being able to pull the trigger, Lara discharged her weapon at the guard. She subsequently directed her aim at Matthias. Nevertheless, Matthias had already positioned his firearm towards Richard. The firearm was positioned. Matthews was aware that Lara was skeptical of the apocalyptic discussions. This was precisely why he desired Lara to persuade her father to unlock the tube. After considerable contemplation, Lara resolved that after such an extensive period, she had finally located her father. She was determined not to allow any harm to befall him now. Lara declared, "I have figured out how to open it," just as she had unraveled that ancient puzzle during her journey here. Lara rotated the wheels on the door in a similar manner, and the entrance door shattered and collapsed. Lara, Richard Matthews, and his entire team proceeded into the chamber. Upon their entrance, a powerful gust of wind swept through, which Richard speculated to be the breath of Himiko. However, Matches countered that no human breath could possibly possess such strength. Then, inadvertently, Lara stepped on a concealed trigger, resulting in a spear emerging from the ground and fatally impaling a guard. Subsequently, they arrived at a vast pit filled with skeletal remains, marking the resting place of those who had perished. To traverse to the opposite side, they utilized a ladder. The guard inadvertently stepped on a concealed trigger, causing the circular doors situated there to abruptly close, entrapping everyone within. Simultaneously, the entire flooring commenced to disintegrate. Then Lara observed that a guard remained outside, observing them through the aperture. Lara attempted to manipulate the wheels on the walls, akin to keys to unlock the door, but at that precise moment, the floor beneath Lara also gave way, leaving her dangling from the door. Lara is still exerting all her strength to open the door, but it has yet to open. She was exerting all her effort to open the door, but it remained stubbornly shut. Then, Lara recalled the intricate puzzle at the entrance and understood that to unlock this door, she needed to merge the yellow and red wheels to form a green wheel. As soon as the green light illuminated, the door swung open. Upon the door's opening, they observed that there were worn-out clothes present. These are indeed the narratives of Himiko's loyal attendants who continued to serve her even beyond death. It was precisely as Richard had documented in his diary, which led Lara to ponder whether the tale about the wine held any truth. Ultimately, they arrived at the tomb of Himiko. Richard attempted to persuade Matthews that unsealing the tomb would be a significant error, but Matthews disregarded his advice. The guards proceeded to open Himiko's coffin, and within it lay Himiko's deceased body. As Himiko gradually opened her eyes, her body commenced to decay at an accelerated pace. Lara observed that in the ancient paintings, Himiko was not portrayed as a demon. Then, Lara recalled the earlier riddle which indicated that for Himiko to regain her life, she must first die, and anyone who touches Himiko would inevitably perish. Lara intervened to prevent Nikards from making contact with Himiko, and she began to comprehend that Himiko had willingly sacrificed herself to save the world. However, the guards disregarded his warnings, and the moment they made contact with the body, Himiko rose. Matthews assumed it was merely a ploy to frighten them, yet the guard who had touched Himiko's body experienced his hands darkening and his flesh commencing to decompose. This unveiled the presence of a perilous virus within Himiko's body, and to prevent this illness from disseminating to others, Himiko had entombed herself. The guard's entire body commenced to decompose, and in a state of panic, he discharged his firearm, inadvertently killing the other guard who had made contact with the body. Subsequently, Matthews also shot him. Despite observing all these events, Matthias resolved to take one of Himiko's fingers to his superior. While he was engaged in this, Lara seized an axe and attacked the final guard. Meanwhile, Richard retrieved the gun from the deceased guard and shot Matthews in the leg. The wounded guard pursued Lara as she was fleeing outside. I instructed Richard to return home, yet Richard was resolute in his decision not to allow Himiko's finger to be removed from the island, as doing so would result in the virus being disseminated globally. Matthias commenced firing at Richard, but his firearm quickly depleted its ammunition. At that precise moment, one of the infected guards rose and assaulted Richard. As Richard became momentarily distracted, Matthias made his escape. Richard managed to shoot the guard, but unfortunately the guard had already made contact with him, signifying that Richard had now contracted the virus as well. He secured a bandage around his arm to halt the bleeding, ensuring that the virus would propagate at a much slower pace within his body. Meanwhile, Lara seized the opportunity to conceal herself in a maid's grave, but her foot inadvertently struck a bone, creating a noise that alerted the guard to her whereabouts. The combined weight of both individuals caused the grave to give way, and Lara tumbled into an adjacent room. The guard fell there alongside her. Then Lara noticed a trigger and ascended onto it, prompting sharp wooden spikes to descend upon them. One of them fell on the guard and he was killed instantly. Shortly thereafter, Lara made her way back to Himiko's tomb, but Richard warned her to keep her distance since he too had contracted the virus. He implored Lara to halt Matthias while he would ignite Himiko's tomb. Lara was determined to rescue Richard no matter what, but Richard had come to terms with his destiny. Richard expressed that it was a profound joy for him to see his daughter once more. With tears in her eyes, Lara gathered her weapons and bid farewell to her father for the final time. Meanwhile, Matthias continued his crossing over the bones. He was making his way across the pit. Lara leapt to the opposite side of the ladder and confronted Matthias. She forcefully kicked Matthias and hurled him back to the other side. However, Matthias was not someone who would surrender easily. An intense and fierce battle erupted between them. Matthias seized Lara by the neck, but Lara somehow managed to bring him down. She couldn't allow Matthias to escape under any circumstances, so she knocked the ladder down. Matthias then picked up an axe and swung it towards Lara. He knocked Lara to the ground and Richard detonated Himiko's tomb using an explosive device. The resulting explosion diverted Matthias's attention, allowing Lara to kick him while forcefully inserting the bag containing Himiko's finger into his mouth. Consequently, Matthias became infected with the virus as well, and Lara swiftly pushed him into the pit. As the entire structure started to crumble, Lara attempted to ascend the wall. Observing her from outside, Lou assisted her in climbing out. They saw Trinity's helicopters and threatened the pilots to leave the house. Upon returning to London, Lara signed the papers which made it clear that her father had passed away and now Lara would be the owner of Richard's company. After that, Anna said that now you should handle the entire business, but Lara said that she didn't care about any of it. In the end, Lara bought back her mother's necklace which she had to sell and held it in her hand to remember her parents. If you liked the video, please like and subscribe to the channel. Please subscribe to the channel. See you in the next video.